hope you can all see me. Go ahead and type in the chat. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Mark is coming in. Great. I see that. Well, let me go ahead and enable the chat. There we go. All right. And just yes, no. Hi, Ed. Thank you. Where's everybody calling in from today? We'll just do a little like welcoming section here before we get started. I know Mark is going to set up his slides. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Oh, good. We can hear you. Wonderful.
Okay.
All right.
See me yet?
I see you too. Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, wonderful. So we have a couple minutes here. So if anybody has any questions, or comments as we get started here, or anytime you have questions during the presentation, just please go ahead and put those in the chat. I'll be monitoring that. I will feed Mark some questions. Mark's going to do the presenting. I'm just kind of here to host and welcome you all here. I'm going to be learning right along with you. So anything you want to add into what I'm saying here, Mark? Or
sorry, I'm just kind of getting set up here. We're going to bring Ed in here at times in the presentation too. I'm not sure if you want, you could even add Ed in now.
Yeah, let me see if I can go ahead and do that.
And then Ed can chip in as he. Just don't chip in too much, Ed. I know you can. You're gonna beat up on me too much, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's great to be here with everybody, and I'm just getting some slides set up here. I think my next thing to do is to screen share, right?
I think
there
so.
it is. There it is.
Hi, Ed.
Hey.
Okay.
Got my Google shirt.
Very cool. I like it. I like it.
I'm gonna turn my camera off to limit some.
Yeah, so we could see your eyes. Yeah, there we go. Down a little bit.
How do I turn it off? Oh, there it is. There we go.
Okay.
I mean, we see you, but I just see like the top of or the bottom of your head. So with your Google shirt, of course.
So yeah, so this is great. So we've got a few people on already early, which is lovely to have keeners. And of course, what I love too is how it's one of the things that really I find so interesting and fun about the way the world has changed, and how, Jamie's heard me say this, and so has Ed, hundreds of times, is the idea that we now really live in two worlds. We've got the physical world, so the chair I'm sitting on and the house that I live in, and I happen to be in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And then we have this other world where a lot of us are spending a lot of time. And I don't just mean business people, I mean the public in general is spending a lot of time in the virtual world. So Jamie is in Boynton Beach, Florida. Ed's, I don't know where you are now, Ed, whether you're in Portland or Vancouver, or where are you?
No, not in Hawaii yet.
Okay.
Right here in Vancouver for the time being, for a few more weeks.
So Ed's in Vancouver, Washington. So and often Ed is in Hawaii and will soon be somewhat permanent in Hawaii. And so it's really cool how we all move around. And what I always think about is the fact that what happens in the virtual world is, in the virtual world, we basically have collapsed time and distance. So that means we can communicate with people anywhere in the world, and also at any time. There's no such thing as daylight or nighttime anymore, or 9 to 5. We have this opportunity to build relationships and to communicate the world over. So that's the eternal optimist in me, and the positive side of things that I always look at. So it's always fun to get on, and all three of us on here from different parts.
Yeah, and people joining us from all different parts.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure if that shows up. Does that show up on your feed there, where people are from?
I'm asking if please let us know where you're joining us from. What part of the world are you? I love to see where people are. Some people are, if they're in a different part of the world, they're in a like it's middle of the night for them, and that's always kind of cool. Like sometimes I jump into webinars and you see people that are like in Australia, and you're like, what are you doing up? You should be asleep.
Yeah.
So let's see. I have opened up the chat, Ed, and it's on. So let me just see here.
So we got Ed there. My name's Mark Canty. I'm with Release Dynamics, for those who haven't met me. And Ed is one of my associates, and an associate with Jamie, of course, too. And he's with Inbound 808, currently from Vancouver, Washington, soon to be from the Big Island in Hawaii.
Yeah, we're an analytics agency.
Yeah. So an analytics master and creative master, I have to say, too. Does amazing things creatively.
I like numbers, though.
Yeah, you're really good at that. So we're at 12:01 right now. So Jamie, I think we should jump in, right?
Yes, I definitely think we should. So I just wanted to mention, Daphne just let me know Ed's picture isn't up. Ed, do you want to, maybe we should leave him off on picture right now, and then when we bring him in, so it's not too distracting. Anyway, we'll figure that out. But Ed, you can turn on your camera at any time. And I do see the chat is working, so that's great. Let's go ahead and get started because I want to be respectful of time.
Yes.
And I do have a hard stop at, we'll get, when we get to where we're getting, we'll get there. But anyway, I'm Jamie 𝐂𝐬𝐇. I am CEO and president of Upscale Your Business. We provide virtual assistance and social media marketing support for professional coaches and consultants. And Mark is my special guest today, and he's been a guest on several of my webinars, and I hope many more to come. And we're connected pretty well, and I think Ed has so much great content to share, and I do as well. And I just want to always have some great stuff for your business, and that's really what this is all about, is how you can have a more upscale business. So I'm going to turn this over to Mark, and like I said, I'm learning right along with everybody. I know a little bit about this topic, and I'll put in my perspective where I can, but we'll go ahead and get started. So Mark, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jamie. And again, my name is Mark Canty. My company is called Release Dynamics. I've been in this business a long time. I formed Release Dynamics as a marketing consultancy in 1990, and in 2005 went exclusively digital. So all of the work we do as an agency now is digital. And of course, the topic that you've been waiting for here is, what is a pixel and why is it so important to my business? So we're going to be talking about the concept of retargeting. And as we mentioned before, Ed is an analyst and also very good at creative. So he's going to be joining us on some of the topics here as we go through. What I want to do is kind of blast through this fairly quickly in terms of giving information so that we kind of lay down the groundwork. And then we'll jump to some Q&A. And we've got an hour here together. And note too, that I want to just hit home on this is that stick around because we've got some great bonuses here. We're going to do some free analysis for you on how you're looking online. Jamie's also going to look at some of your inbound marketing and inbound and outbound marketing to look at optimization and what's going on there. And then we also are going to throw in a free video to some individuals at the end too. We're going to put a limited quantity on this. So the first 10 people to sign up for the bonus are going to get a free video production that you can then use in your retargeting. And we're going to get into that in a minute as to how you use that and how you're effective with that. So wanted to point these things out and say, don't forget to sign up for your bonuses and give us some feedback at the end. What else did I want to say about this? I wanted to say, let's dive in and give you some groundwork here in terms of information. So I love this. Jamie knows this. She's seen me do presentations before. I always start with this: is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And of course, that quote is attributed to Albert Einstein. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful quote because so often in business, we get stuck in ruts where we keep doing the same thing. And for some reason, we're surprised, that, that our sales are the same, that we're just not getting the leads we want to get, that our business isn't growing, and we're stuck in this rut. So obviously the solution to that is do something different. And the exciting part about the world that we live in, and this digital world that we all communicate and we can do business in, is that it's so dynamic that there's always things you can be doing. You never have to stay stuck doing the same things. So we want to talk about one of those things today and how you can change it up. Oh, by the way, I want to do a quick check-in. The slides are showing up. Can we get a little ping? Jamie, you're seeing them. Maybe a little, just throw in the chat box there, you know, a yes or a number 1 or something, just to let us know that you're seeing the slides okay?
Looks fine. People are saying.
So affirmative. Okay. So another thing that I always like to talk about as a core is that business is a game. And if you don't know what your score is, how are you ever going to win? You know, can you imagine somebody investing in a national football team, for example, and spending millions and millions of dollars on a beautiful stadium, recruiting talent, spending all that time and money recruiting, hiring the best, the very best people, and at the end of the day saying, we can't be bothered buying a scoreboard, it's just too much money? That would just be insanity, wouldn't it? And yet many people operate their business that way. And this is what we call in SCORE, this is where we are talking about analytics. So, you know, the language may be a little different, the words may be different, but what we're talking about is the idea of keeping score. And so think about it in that simple term. Am I keeping score in my business? Am I studying my analytics? So you can't manage what you don't measure. So think again to these professional sports teams, whether it's football or baseball, you know, they're measuring conversions. They're looking at all the stats of their players and they're making their lineups based on those. So this is where analytics comes into play in your business so that you can make those adjustments. Without them, you're kind of dead. You're like a pro team that's operating without a scoreboard and wondering at the end of the game whether you won or lost. So are you tracking all of your marketing and advertising to provide stats and analytics? Can your current advertising provide the same level of results and analytics that digital marketing does? And again, this is what excites me so much about digital marketing, is that you can literally track everything, and the depth and the level of analysis that you can get into is phenomenal. It means that your marketing can be so much more efficient than it ever was. So the bottom line here is you don't track it. Well, Ed, this is one of Ed's sayings, by the way. Ed shared this with me. If you don't track it, it didn't happen. And that needs to be a mindset that many people need to think of. So let's go forward here. Enough of the intro. What is a pixel? So a pixel is a small invisible piece of code that tells the ad networks to save visitors' cookies to your audiences. And then once you have an audience, then you can redeliver that to people. You can actually target those people. The pixel is embedded on your website pages. So before we jump forward into why a pixel is so important, I also want to point out many people think, well, they hear pixel, they think Facebook. Is that true? Jamie, is that true for you?
I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that from several of my clients. Yeah.
So it's important to realize that there's different types of pixels. It's not just Facebook. So even Google Analytics, in fact, having Google Analytics code, which probably I would hope that all of you have on your websites, that is a pixel. And you can actually use that information, and you can use that pixel to, again, do analysis, study your market, and then retarget to those people who are visiting your website. So understand there's different types of pixels. Having them set up properly on your website and utilizing them in an effective way is the important part. But what that does is it really allows you to dial in and get into marketing specifically to people who are interested in what you're doing. So let's talk about the concept of retargeting. So this is like a case study, if you will, in a really broad sense, or a traffic story. So we know that somebody visits your website, okay? This is why a pixel is so important. Now, 96%, that's the average, by the way. Some people, even some people I would hazard a guess that are on this presentation today or watching this presentation as a replay, some people, this figure would be 100%. Literally 100% of the visitors never make contact, because you don't have your website set up to encourage that. Maybe you don't have a contact form. Maybe you don't have your phone number and your location boldly up front where people can reach out to you very quickly and easily. But the bottom line here is that the average website loses 96% of their visitors. And off they go. They trundle off in the virtual world, and they start searching other websites, and they start getting information from other sources, and you're forgotten. Well, to me, that's extremely inefficient, and it doesn't need to happen if you have things set up properly. So why is this happen? What is the reason behind this? Well, because everybody that visits your website could be a potential buyer, but you don't know when. They might be a potential buyer today, so they might be actually visiting your website, so therefore they want a call to action. They want something that's going to hit them right away. I want to fill out a form. I want to pick up a phone. What do I have to do to reach out to Jamie, for example, right now because I need her help? If her website isn't making that easy for me, I might drift away. But also I might be that person that's just checking her out, that's only heard her name for the first time. Or maybe I just picked up on search that she was there and I'm visiting her website for the first time. I'm not ready yet. Okay. So I also could click away and drift away, and there's no way of knowing who's who. There's no way of knowing who is that person that wants to take action right now and who is that person that is going to take action next month or 3 months from now. Now, motivations are different when people come to your website. So they come to your website sometimes, they're looking for a great deal. So I used this example before. For example, maybe they've heard of Jamie, maybe they've been, thinking about her program for a long time, and they're thinking, I wonder if she's got a special on right now. I wonder, maybe that's that one little thing that'll push me over the edge. So they're looking for that motivator, and they arrive on her website, or they see an ad and there's an offer there, and they take action because of that. Maybe there's a special discount, maybe there's a payment plan or something that causes them to take action. But maybe they're not interested in that at all. Maybe they're not quite sure about upscale your business. Maybe they don't know enough about Jamie yet, and they're kind of inspecting her, they're checking her out. They're saying, what is her reputation? What are other people saying about her? What are her reviews like? So in that case, that's what that motivator is for that person. And potentially they could be looking for something very specific. So let's come back to that Facebook pixel example. Maybe they're looking for Facebook advertising and they want to see that. And that's what's going to be the motivator for them to take action. Again, the challenge is you don't know what they're looking for, which category they fit into, and you don't know when they're going to want to buy or take action. So they leave. 96% of them leave. But when you have a pixel in place, you can capture 100% of those visitors. And then you can market only your information to those visitors, and you can do that on other websites. You can do that on social media, but you can also do that on other websites. And that's why it's important to understand that Google Analytics, Facebook, there are different pixels for different purposes. And then, of course, you follow them around. So this is where the time comes in. So by keeping your name top of the mind with somebody through retargeting, when they are ready to buy, when you provide the right motivation, then they come back to you and they take action. So 2 levels here. I just want to kind of recap this. One is timing. You don't know the timing. So you want to follow them around for a while. You want to present them with your name so that you remain top of the mind. The second part of this strategy is you don't know what their motivation is to take action. So you want to make sure you're presenting a variety of information to them so that they're not they're not getting banner blindness. So having a variety of different messages that address these kinds of things. Putting out a special offer, maybe if all they need is a little push. Putting out a reputation ad that shows them, hey, I'm credible. This is what people are saying about me. Or putting out a banner or ad that specifically addresses something that you really want to tackle and that you really want to work on. Your specialty, in other words, what you want to work on. So this is a secret that, most people don't know about. Your competition probably doesn't even know about this. You can literally get 10-fold results, if not more, by retargeting people who are visiting your website, following around for a period of time so that you remain top of the mind. We call that TOMA, by the way, top of mind awareness. So where is your TOMA at? And making sure that you're there. If we think about, buying books online, what name comes to mind, Jamie?
Amazon.
Amazon. So Amazon, if we look at the studies, has got some crazy number like a 96% TOMA rating. Meaning if I ask that question, 96% of people will say Amazon. So how did we get you there? How does your name become that person for your particular category in the business that you're going after?
And I want to just say to everybody on here, all the lay people, so to speak, we're all targeted. We're all victims of this. like Mark's just talking about Amazon. How many times you go to Amazon, look at a product, a book, or whatever, and then you decide not to buy it. You might not put it in your cart, and then all of a sudden, for days you're followed around with that same item. Remember this? So that's kind of a good sense of what I think Mark's talking about here.
Yeah. And, I like to think of it too, from a perspective, again, the optimist and the positive side in me is, you use the word victim, Jamie, and I want to pick up on that for a minute.
It's a bad word. I'm sorry, but
it's okay, because as business people,
it'll happen to all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to watch our language, because it gives whenever you catch yourself with a word like that, then that can inhibit your business. So, so what we want to think about more than actually, stalking people or whatever other negative words you might think of, or being a victim or whatever, is that really what we're doing here is we're helping people sift through the noise. People are bombarded with information. In the past, people didn't have enough information to make a decision. Now they have too much information. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to synthesize that and bring that down and make their decision-making process simple and easier, so they don't get stuck in that paralysis by analysis. So there's a reframe of how to look at that.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk. So we talked, on the last slide about why it's important to have a pixel, because we don't know when people are going to buy or take action. And we also don't know why. We don't know what their motivator is. Now, there's another important factor here as to why it's so important. And this is called the rule of 7. Many people may be aware of this. Anybody that's been in sales for any period of time would have heard of this. This is going way back. I think this is back a study that was done in the 70s or something. And actually, I've got 2002, but I know that this data goes back even farther than that. But the rule of 7 says that prospects need to hear your brand or your message at least 7 times before they'll take action. And this is old data, but now people are saying, due to the internet, due to all of the noise and the digital noise that we're getting, that consumers are in complete overwhelm, and that it can take up to 16 times for them to actually hear your name and see your message before they take action. Now, not everybody will. Obviously, some people will on the first touch, but many people will take up to 16 times. In fact, the rule of 7, the study that was done on that, showed that 80% of people, in fact, didn't take action until after I think it was the 3rd contact or 4th contact or something. So this is another reason for retargeting, is you may, again, I'm going to talk about language a bit here, is that you may think that, oh, I'm pestering people or I'm bothering people. But it couldn't be further from the truth. What you need to be thinking about is, how many times am I touching people? And this is where you need to be thinking, I need to be touching people a minimum of 7 times. And if you're not touching people that many times, then you're actually losing out on a big chunk of potential business. So there's 2 types of retargeted marketing. There's retargeting traffic to those 96% of visitors that don't contact you. And we talked about that already. Someone visits your website, we drop a pixel there, then you market only your information, only your ads to those visitors, and only those visitors, and you follow them around 1 to 3 months, or basically until they take action. The other aspect that you can take advantage of with pixeling is cold traffic. A lot of people aren't even aware of this fact, that you can actually use pixeling for cold traffic. And I'm going to get into that in a few slides. I'm going to give you some really specific examples of how you can utilize that. So what do you do with that? Well, you place ads on sites that interest your target market. Okay. So how do you know what sites interest your target market? Well, you pixeled them. So because you pixeled them, you're able to build audiences. You're able to get data on those people. You know what your customers or your prospective customers are looking for, what kind of places they go. And therefore, you can now hang out on those places that they go and also hit them there. So let's say that you find out that a vast majority of your customers also like to go to the Weather Network, and or the Weather Channel, or whatever it's called. And they like to check out the weather for some reason. Maybe you sell rain gear, and you find there's a connection there. Well, by knowing that, then wouldn't it make sense to then place some ads on the Weather Network or the Weather Channel, or one of those channels where you can actually capture those people? So this is where, again, analysis and data comes into play for you. You market to everyone that visits those particular sites. So again, you're not marketing to the whole world. You're just marketing to those people on those websites. So again, using the rain gear example, it would make sense, because a lot of people who are going to be buying my rain gear are probably watching the weather and interested in the weather. And wouldn't it be great if you only marketed to them on rainy days or snowy days, or whatever the product is that you're selling? And then you also split test all of your ads. So you've got your offer ads, your reputation ads, your branding ads, maybe some other ads as well thrown in there that are really geared towards your prospective clients and customers. And you start testing all those to see which ones are the performers. I don't want to overwhelm you with these concepts, but I'm obviously leading you to the idea of understanding that the more you track your score, the more accurate you can be, the more you can dial in, and the greater your odds are of winning the Super Bowl. So what do you think? Do you think that the teams that, that are consistently at the top, that win, the Super Bowl, that win the cups, that win the Stanley Cup, do you think those teams are the ones that are also probably the best analysts? Would that make sense? I'd be willing to bet they are. I'd be willing to bet they invest a tremendous amount of time and money in analyzing their business and understanding their stats. And they do that, and that's how they become Super Bowl winners. So are you going to be the Super Bowl winner? You can be, and you can do that for a lot less cost and a lot easier than those teams that are having to spend, millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah, and if I can just jump in here and say, I want to go back on my little victim comment. You're right. That was not good languaging. But because I love being retargeted. I have to say, I really do, because sometimes I did forget to buy the thing in the Amazon that I meant to buy. And also I'm retargeted on like business webinars and things like that, things that I know are going to help me. So I value being retargeted because I'm like that. They know what I want. They know the content that I would be interested in.
Definitely.
It's a good thing.
So throw in the chat for a minute there, if we could play a little game and participate with me for a little bit here. Throw in the chat times that you've appreciated being retargeted. For me, I enjoy being retargeted when I'm planning a trip, when I'm traveling, because I'm hitting a lot of websites and I'm getting a lot of information and I can't remember it all. So when I start to get those retargeting ads, it reminds me of those gems that I found. So for me, it's travel. Just maybe put in the chat, anybody that's willing to participate in this little game. Anytime you've been retargeting, you've been retargeted and it's benefited you.
I like what Ed had to say. He goes, retargeting reminds you of what you wanted to remember.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else think of a time that they got retargeted and they ended up buying the product so it served them? Come on, people. Let's participate.
Jump on it. What kind of things do you like to buy? What kind of things are, just in general, whether you were retargeted or not, what are the things that you would be interested in seeing over in a sidebar somewhere? Oh,
I'll throw in another example.
Retargeting. Your wife or girlfriend sees an ad for a ring. Oops, retargeting from what I was looking at. Haha.
Oh, yeah. Or even worse, a dating site.
Oh, yeah.
That would be bad. Okay, let's move on. I'll give you one more case study example of a client of ours. And she was telling us about they were planning a trip to Israel. And she wanted to know a little bit more about some of the language, right? So she was looking for courses and ended up getting retargeting and signing up for, trying to remember which one it was, whether it was Rosetta Stone or one of those ones, but she ended up signing up. It was an example that she used where she ended up signing up for a course so that she could learn some of the language before she went on the trip. And that was an example where she'd been retargeted because she visited certain sites and they figured out, hey, maybe language would be a thing. So to her, she wouldn't have thought about that, or she wouldn't have known of a resource had that ad not popped up. And she was able to then study a bit of language so that she could, maybe communicate and feel a little more comfortable while she was on the ground. So there's another example.
Yeah.
So let's talk about types of retargeting. And I'm going to bring Ed in. I'm just going to run through this really quickly, and then I'm going to bring Ed in as our analyst because I want to really hit home on this. Website retargeting. So that introductory level that we just talked about. People come to your website, you place them in an audience, and then you place ads for them and you address them on specific channels that they might be looking at, and you're only targeting them. But there's a lot more to it. So there's search retargeting. That's targeting individuals on search engines who have searched using keywords or phrases that are relevant to your business. These are things where analytics come into play, Google Analytics specifically. SEM and SEO. So search engine marketing and search engine optimization, retargeting can come into play where you combine the search term that was used when they landed on your website with actions they take. And then you have a new level of insight into why did that word lead them to go to that particular page. You can use that to refine your ad creative, and you can also use that to refine your message and perfect that so that you can redeliver that to them. Email retargeting. So did you know that if you send out emails to people, you can put them into campaigns, you can retarget people based on actions they take when they send an email. Ed always hits home on this with me. If I send an email and he doesn't see that I've actually tagged that email, then he's always harping on me and saying, why are you wasting your time? We can collect data on every email that you send. You need to be making sure that you set up the code for that. It's very simple and easy to do. Engagement retargeting, your channels of engagement. So did you know that you can retarget people who visit your videos on YouTube, who go to other channels of media that you're presenting? And based on the type of actions that they take, then you can also start to understand their intent. Based on their level of engagement, you can figure out where they're going and what they're doing. And again, you can display ads to them that are highly targeted and are going to address the needs that they're looking to solve, okay? Contextual retargeting is another one. And this is another area where you can actually exchange pixels between sites that are relevant to you. This is really advanced stuff that can be very powerful. Anybody right now that actually does, you know, travel searching or anything like that, Expedia, the big boys are all playing this game, okay, where they're using the pixel exchange so they know that things are relevant. So an example would be a hotel site and an airline site. Very relevant, and they can actually target each other's visitors to put a package together. So different levels of retargeting. And really the number one place, again, I don't want to overwhelm people, but the first place to start is in the website retargeting area. I'd like to bring Ed in on this part of it. And Ed, you know, take the stage here. What sorts of things do you want to point out? And what else have I missed in the rest of the presentation?
No, it's great. I was just going to say, if website retargeting, there's three things that a lot of people can take advantage of. Is if you have a key page site that indicates, hey, if they see this page, it's more likely they're interested in inquiring about services with me, especially if the business is like a consultant or coach, because most people need a little bit of a conversation. So if they visit a page that you've identified as an obvious piece of content, that if they consume that, they're more likely to want to take advantage of discussion. So you can prompt them with a retargeting ad that says, you know, you may not want to be creepy and say, well, I know you read this article or watched this video, but more like, hey, so if you were interested in this, we've got this free 30-minute call that you can schedule in an ad that they see later on. So thinking on what content you have on your website to retarget. It's not just retargeting your website in general, but thinking through the purchasing, you know, process of your prospects.
That's great.
Awesome. You know, a good example that you brought up, we had a meeting last evening with a client. Ed and I were on that call, and Ed was doing some analysis. And one of the things he picked up on was that this particular client, their FAQ page was getting some great traffic.
It's the second highest visited page.
Yeah, second highest on the website. So that told us a lot, and tells the owner and tells us in terms of our marketing strategy for this, you know, for this particular client. We know that the content on that page is attracting people and they're reading it. So now we can design our follow-up, our retargeting content, that we can actually use that page and have the content be addressing that.
Usually it's questions for many people's websites. After studying hundreds of websites, usually it's centered around questions and then you answering that. That kind of content usually is the best indication that they're going further down and getting closer to open their wallet, but not yet. So if they either ask questions or you put the questions that's in their head, it almost is like, whoa, these people are speaking to me because those are the questions I have. So, you know, retargeting doesn't have to be necessarily an offer in your ad. It could be addressing the conversation or questions they're already having in their head when they visit your website. So that's a great use of this data. If you know that, oh, they're visiting content that answers questions, let's put that in our retargeting ads so that we are speaking what they're already hearing. And that usually really works well. Not always, you don't always have to have a discount offer, because, you know, an offer is not always discount. An offer of, I can answer your question if you book a call with me. In fact, I'll answer all more questions, kind of thing. So
yeah.
Here's another great example, and this is, you know, I know Ed, for example, the care cap example that Ed often uses when we work together. So the other thing is, an offer can also be, you know, even an offer of more information. So particularly in the coaching consulting field, let's say that you twig on something that somebody's interested in and they're reading about on your website, then you retarget them with a free report. That's an offer, right? So it would be, hey, you know, I was interested in, you know, something related to your coaching or consulting. let's say it's a financial consultant, and they're looking at, well, how can I save fees, investment fees, right? So they're reading about that, saying, what, maybe the key was, what is a low or a high, rate to be paying a financial advisor? And they read that little bit on that post on your website. Then you could follow up with an offer ad, and the offer would be, hey, download my free report on understanding management fees and how to get the most bang for your buck. So now you've led them into a funnel where they've actually accepted your offer for what we would call a lead magnet, and they've taken that information, and now that you've built that relationship that much more with them. But particularly in the consulting, as Ed brought up, the coaching and consulting field often takes this kind of relationship building where people want to get to know you before they actually engage with you. So that's
an example of list building, which you're building an email list where you can remarket to them in that way. But the first list that's being built, with this pixel talk, the first list you're building is your pixel list. So we say in 2019, in the future, the 3 lists that you need to be building is your pixel list, your email list, and your list of paying customers. So
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about that, excellent point. Thank you, Ed. Is that idea, the pixel list, another way of looking at that is your audiences. So these are broader, they're general. We're not getting specifics. We don't have the email for them. We don't have their address and things like that. But as you think about funnels too, and this is another thing, and I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but now we're seeing people moving from, instead of having this complex website with multiple layers and pages, more and more people are going to what we would call a funnel page. So the idea of funnel page is that it's much simpler, gives people the information they need to be motivated enough to then get on your list, and you take them layer by layer. So these are some of the complexities, that are coming in marketing. Ed, anything else to pitch in on types of retargeting?
Can I share one tab? Am I able to share it?
Sure, of course. I will.
You might have to go to the top and click on screen. I'm not sure.
I'm going to stop my screen share. Okay. So you should do it.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. It requires me to install the Easy Webinar thing.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
If you go to the very top, where it says like mic, cam, and then screen.
Yeah, I see it. It's just, it requires me to install, and it's going to take up time. So I'll install it and come back to it. So I'll let Mark keep going.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Okay, great.
I'll pop in.
Sure.
I'm going to come back to this then, and I'm almost done, so that we can jump to Q&A here, and we'll wrap things up. So I love this graphic. I know there's another one. Ed's going to share another one with me at some time, because he said I've got one even better. But I just love the this whole expression, because it really does feel this way, doesn't it? I don't know how many people, if you could raise your hand, put a 1 in the chat box if this is the way you feel sometimes. So if you think about it this way, it can be overwhelming, and it can be scary, and it can be crazy. And the reality is, there is a tremendous amount of information to know. And if you let yourself get overwhelmed by that and sucked into that, it really can create paralysis by analysis. So what we want to do is, kind of back off and say, you don't need to know it all. And, before we go, I want to plant the seed for you. I see this over and over again, is DIY killing your business? I don't know how many people that I talk to that say, when I can afford to, then I'll hire the people I need to help me grow my business. So they're plugging away, filling up their valuable time doing DIY at something they're really not good at, they don't know enough about, and more importantly, it's not their forte, it's not their expertise, and it's not something they even want to be doing. So you've got to really ask yourself, what's your time worth? And to understand that your resources are limited. I want to take you through a little model here. So when you think of resources, I want to think of time as a resource. The more time you're spending on non-revenue producing activities, the less you have left for revenue producing activities. So let me give you an example of that. So let's give you an offline example. A carpenter. So if a carpenter is spending time writing up ads, studying the internet, trying to understand about pixels and how to get everything online, and he's just absorbing all of his time doing that, how much time has he got left over to actually build furniture or to work on a house? The more he cuts into that time, the less revenue he is generating. Energy, and sometimes energy is even greater. So we might say, gee, I spent an hour trying to learn something, and yet that hour translated into 90% of our energy. We're just totally sapped, and we say, that's it, I'm done for the day. I'm going to go have a beer or a coffee, or I'm going to go have a nap. You know, how many people can identify with that? Anybody identify with those things where you get sucked into areas that you think you need to know, you really don't want to study it, it's not your forte, it's not of interest, and it just saps your energy? Can you identify with that? Put a 1 in the chat box if that resonates with you. So again, that comes back to those of you who are indicating, yeah, then how much energy do you have left over for your revenue producing ideas? So my point here is to invest wisely. Invest your time and energy wisely, because the more you're able to address, ideally, wouldn't the ideal situation be to be spending 100% of your time and your energy in things that you love to do, spending your time and your energy on revenue producing activities? So Peter Drucker talked about this too at great length. He's a business guru, a Harvard professor from way back when, written numerous books. And he said this way back pre-internet days: do what you do best and outsource the rest. So I want to give you that thought and leave you with that, because I hear that again. I see people's pain and their struggle, and it frustrates me to no end, because I know if they just reframe their thinking. Earl Nightingale used to tell a story about an old man standing in front of a wood stove, and he had a pile of wood beside him, and he had a piece of wood in his hand, and he was freezing and shivering, and he was looking at this cold wood stove, and he was yelling at it, and he was yelling at the wood stove, "Give me some heat and I'll give you some wood." And that's the way I see the vast majority of people running their businesses. Give me some profit, give me some revenue, and then I'll invest in what I know I need to invest in. So I don't want to harp on this. I don't want to make you feel guilty, but I just want you to think about that seriously and say, am I investing wisely in growing my business? Am I putting my investments into resources that are going to pay off for me so that I can do what I do best, what I really want to do? And to me, that's one of the missions that I'm on, is to get people to that stage, because to me, it's a tragedy when I see people living in pain because they stepped out to make their dream a reality, and their dream has turned into a nightmare. They've basically bought themselves a job, and it's the worst job in the world, because they're spending 90% of their time and energy doing things they don't want to do, they don't like doing, and they're not passionate about, all in the hopes of maybe scraping out 10% of their time and energy that they can actually do something that they love. Well, my mission is to reverse that, is to help people see through the cloud and do that. And you and I and everybody on this call knows of examples of people like that. So my question to you is, why not you? Why can't you be that person who basically has all those people that are doing, let's call it the dirty work, and allowing them to do the things that they love? So question here, are you ready to implement your retargeting campaign? Give us some feedback. We're going to ask you right after this to fill out a feedback form for us. We thrive on feedback. It's how we do what we do, and we need to know what you think. And sign up for your bonuses, because we want to spend time with you. And, your bonuses will give us the opportunity to spend one-on-one time with you, and to, dive in deeper and to help you solve some of these problems. So, be sure to do that.
And I just put it into the chat. I hope everybody can see it. I've put in a link right to just request your bonuses. Just click on the sign up now button. I hope everybody can see it. Let me know if you can't. I'll check the chat just to see.
Yeah.
But just click on that. It'll take you to a brief sign up form, and we'll get your bonuses over to you, get you all settled with that.
That's great. And thank you, Jamie. And I wanted to, and then we're going to jump to Q&A. And I also wanted, before we do that, I just want to remind everybody, Jamie, I hope I've got this date right. Wednesday, September 26th. So it's the last Wednesday of the month, or the 3rd?
Hang on. Let me check my calendar. It is the 26th for the next live webinar like this. Yes.
The next live free webinar for Success Strategies members is Wednesday, September 26th. Mark your calendar. Be there. You'll get information on this as to what the next topic is going to be and what the next guest appearance is going to be. And now let's turn it over to some Q&A, and let's see what people have got. And Ed and I and Jamie are here for another. Well, we've got a little bit of time here, so we got another 15 minutes before we wrap up. Any questions?
Go ahead and post your questions or comments in the chat. Ed has dropped in a Dropbox screenshot, so I'm going to see. I don't know if I can grab it, or Mark.
Okay, I need to stop. I need to stop sharing, I think.
All right, let me see if I can.
Yeah, if one of you can bring it up. I just wanted to touch on what Mark had said earlier,
okay,
before there's any questions.
Okay, so let me see if I can screen share. See what we've got here. No, let me see. Application window.
I think while she's loading it, what will bring up, it's a screenshot of Jamie's website, her own Upscale Your Business website. And the nice thing about it, if you spend a little time looking at your analytics, and a lot of business owners don't. It's not a top of mind thing you need to do. But whoa, we've got.
Hold on. Stop sharing. Yeah, not sure how to grab that. I've got the screenshot. Let me see if I can share a tab. Let me try that. Browser tab. All right, here we go.
The power of knowing who your visitors are in this screenshot shows what we call affinity categories and in-market segment. And I'll address the affinity category. It addresses what about 25% of your website users. Google has all this big data. They capture everything, and they do that because the analytics pixel is firing on that website and thousands and hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And so they can categorize the people on your website, like on Jamie's, for example, of what other things they have affinity for, which helps you build your, we've used this before, your avatar, or it builds your a profile or a dossier on what your visitors are interested in, to be able to think of what kind of creatives or kind of content that you want to put on your website, or just to know that, hey, 11% are into lifestyle and they're business professionals, which isn't shocking. I mean, she's working with business owners. The other side of it is to understand the in-market segment, and Google has updated the ability to be able to predict when people are going to purchase in market for 150 different market niches now, as of end of June 2018. So that's another way to use the pixel data, that they're using the pixel data to help advertisers and marketers recognize when somebody is in market. So it's not surprising either for her website, where over 50% are looking for business related services or advertising and marketing services. So it's not entirely shocking to her, I don't think, because that's her customers. Yeah. And then employment, which she has a VA side of providing VA services, and also, I believe, training VAs to become VAs. So when you go to look at this data in your website, or if you're interested and you need help, we can talk with you when you sign up in your bonuses. We can address this a little bit. We can look at this with you and say, okay, is this shocking to you, or is there opportunity? It falls back to my old, college days of, learning SWOT analysis. We want to look what the weaknesses are, but we also want to look what the opportunities are. And this is just an example of the power of the pixel provides you data to show you, hey, I'm on track. This is the people I'm targeting, and here's other things that I may not know. Maybe I could talk about food. Maybe I can, talk about shopping and how it relates to content on your website. So I'm not even sure if many people even know they can see this if they have analytics on their website, if they know they can see the demographics or interests of a website.
I know with I'll do a stop share here, but I know for my business, when I work with my clients, we do a Google Analytics report every month, just so that my clients can see, the return on their investment in working with us, that we're helping to drive traffic to their site. But to be able to go deeper and dive deeper into all of those numbers and what they mean is a really cool feature.
I just got a private message here from someone, and it's private, so I won't say who it was. But they were asking about the video and everything, and what that's all about, what they're supposed to do with that. So what we're trying to do here is help you get started. So we want to put together a free ad for you, if you will, that you can then use to retarget people. And by the way, when you get with us one-on-one, we're gonna help you through some of this stuff too. We always tend to, well, Jamie can testify to this, as we tend to, our goal is always to under promise and over deliver. So when we are doing that, and when we get with you, when you sign up for this and we put your ad together, we're going to help you with things like, is your pixel properly placed on your website? Do you have the right one even? And then how do you do that? What do you do to actually get that ad in front of those people? So we want to help you get started on this path, and we're going to be there to help you through some of these things. So know that that's part of that. I hope that answers the question. And if anybody else has any other questions, then. And
I'll just address, just so you know what, that's Mark's offer. My offer is the free inbound marketing assessment. And so we can do that for you as well. And we look at your website and all of your, your blog, your social media profiles, and we give you some feedback on what you could be doing better, what you're doing great, and what could be better. So you just fill out a form, very quick form. It takes about 90 seconds, and then we'll get on a call. We'll go over the results and talk about what you can do. I give you the suggestions. You can take them and go, or, we can talk about how we could work together to help you with all of that. So.
Great.
Let me see if there's any other chats. Okay. And I guess, Mark, do we want to, we'll mention about our, let me remove this offer. We'll be sending these offers obviously in the email as well, but I also want to mention about our, we do have a free membership program that we're offering to people who are on the call. Mark, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to?
Definitely. I think, and we can both talk about it, but this series is part of Jamie's program called, Upscale Success Strategies. It's a membership program. And actually, if you go online to join right now, it's $97 to join it. But because you're on this webinar, and we're also looking at, I'm working with Jamie and helping her build the membership base, because we want to build a tribe. We want to build a group of like-minded individuals who want to learn about different topics, who want to chat and participate, ask questions, and dive in to different things that are going on. And we want to help you with that. So right now, the membership for that is free with a coupon. So what we would ask is that if there are people that you like to hang around with, and there are people that you respect, or fellow business people who are at the same position that you are, anybody at all, we want you to send them the link to join this membership, because it won't be free forever. And we want to get, a base of people in that are going to be supporting each other. We have a Facebook group for this. So this is an opportunity to network, to join a network of individuals, to support each other, ask questions, dive deep, look at new topics that are coming up all the time. So please, 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 Jamie is going to make sure that you get that link with the coupon.
I hope it's showing for you guys.
There you go. Get access now.
Yep,
so
click that.
Yeah. You can click, if you're not a member now, click on that to join. If you are a member, then click on that and then grab the link and share that with people. And we'll put that, I believe, Jamie, you're going to put that in the next email to people too. So, so help us grow this group. We want to cover topics like this and enlighten people, because it is, can be a crazy, scary place out there, the digital world. And it seems like that to many people, but it doesn't have to be. We can all learn how to navigate it together, and how to get the most out of it, and how to keep it a positive place, where positive energy and positive language and people are using it for good. So that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. And every month there's new content. So it's sort of on what they call a drip campaign, sort of like, you get the first month, you'll get a series of, webinar topics and bonuses and all kinds of learning opportunities. And then next month you'll get another grouping of information. So it's not going to all, it's not going to bombard you. you will just, you'll have a month to digest what's there, and hopefully you'll get some great learning opportunities.
And I think, Jamie, too, you can, like, right now there's at least 2 webinars on there that were recorded.
I believe there's 3 or 4. Actually, we've got about 3. We've got 3 months of content filled up, completely ready. It's dripping out.
And there's resources you can download and use on there, so that's always there. So when you sign up, you'll be able to log in, and you'll be able to access that at any time. You can be doing that in your pajamas at home in the middle of the night, and you'll have that information, and you're going to be grandfathered in too. So I anticipate that this program will become in demand and that people will be paying.
Can you share the screen what that landing page looks like? I mean, I'm looking at so much good content here.
Yeah, I can actually show it to you, but I want to say that I actually just hired somebody, and they're going to be, I think tomorrow it's going to have a new look to it, but I'm happy to share it now. Let me get there. Hang on.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great, thank you, Ed. That's a great idea.
I signed up, so I'm looking at it going, okay, so you get like first month talks about reputation. Looks like you have a webinar recording.
Yes, we do. We've got a few. So let me go ahead and let me share my screen. Let me do a browser tab here. And again, just know I'm going to show this to you now. I was hoping I'd have this ready today for this call.
But the content is golden, though. The content is the same.
Yes, exactly. It's just going to have a different look. So just know that. But yes, so we've got, month. Well, the first one is, you get a welcome kit like the first day. As soon as you sign up, you get all these like welcome things. You get some workbooks too to kind of, focus on, clarifying and being conscious of what you want, for your business and all of that. Can you see my screen? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, perfect. And then we go into month 1, and it's all about your reputation. And we do have the webinar in there and some other stuff. And then we have month 2, we talk about systematizing your business. And we go into month 3, systematizing your website. We're going to go through, I have a series of great content that I want to be sharing really about systematizing every aspect of your business. And so, we're building it as we go kind of thing. I mean, I think most of the people who are already members are caught up into month 3 here, but we just want to build this out for a long time to come. You can see I've already, gotten ideas I've put in there, and this will be available in 20 days to me. So yeah, just click on the click here to enroll button from the link I've provided.
Is there a coupon code you need to sign up with, or is it just automatically signs up free?
It will automatically show you, because this is using the link that I'm providing to you. And I'll give you the quick, like the shortened link real quick so that you can just write this down, because that way you don't need this long URL. It's upscaleyourbusiness.com. So www.upscaleyourbusiness.com /success-member. And that will give you access to the free program. Now there will be I do actually have a coupon code, and I'll put that into the email, but that's the quick way to get to the free program.
upscaleyourbusiness.com.
Let me go ahead and put it in the chat. So it's upscaleyourbusiness.com/success-member.
So that link or the blue button that we see on the screen for the webinar.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? Don't click on that link. I see a typo. Hang on. Upscale.
Oh, upscale.
Yeah. Let me fix that. I want to put an HTTP in front of that. I'm thinking.
Seems like it hyperlinks it anyway.
It hyperlinks automatically. It looks like, Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm seeing it.
There we go. Is that right? Yes, I think that should do it. Let me click on it to make sure.
So that link brought me to the same thing as the blue button. So great. Awesome.
Yeah. And it should, when you click here to enroll now, and then you sign up, you'll see that it's $0 right now.
Yeah. On that particular link. That's great. And when you look at that content that Jamie's got there too, it's you're grandfathered in, so you're going to have this for
Lifetime.
forever,
lifetime.
And each session that's added, each segment that's added every month, you're going to continue to have access to that forever. You're never going to have to pay for this. So it's kind of a no-brainer to join now. And also, really one of the reasons we're doing this, is because we want you to help us grow this group.
Yes.
And, and to build this up so that the more people we have, the more we have to share, the more people that can share their insights and ideas, their ahas, things that they discover, programs they've attended, ideas or questions. then it just all grows and multiplies. So it's exciting to have. Yeah.
And I also just want to mention on piggybacking on this, you know, and what Mark said, we want to grow the community. I'm also looking for, you know, other professionals to feature here, you know, with Mark and I feel Mark and I are co-facilitating all of this. And, you know, Mark has great content. I think he's got several more webinars in him, I hope. And I do too. I've got some ideas for presentations that I would like to give to this group and to new members and all of that. But if you know somebody, or you are somebody who has some interesting, you know, teachable content that you would be willing to share with, you know, a broad audience here of business professionals. You know, my audience is mostly coaches and consultants, so that's mostly what's on my mailing list. But anything that you can bring to bear for a learning opportunity, could be an opportunity for you to have some new potential clients and all of that. So just keep that in mind. Send me an email or shoot me a note in the chat, and would love to. I can send an invitation to them to come and present and be a part of this as well. If that's you, let me know.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're there.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining us. And I'll send out the replay of this. I know some people did report that they had some technical issues with like the sound. So I am sorry for that. I'm not experiencing any issues, so I'm not sure what other people were experiencing, but two people did mention. So we'll see how the replay turns out. I hope it is fine, and we'll check that out. But we'll see if we can see what we can do to repair that for next time.
Yeah, and hopefully the replay will be fine. I mean, obviously at work, you and Ed and I are all in different parts of the continent here, and we're all able to work. So it's all so it seems to be working. So I'm hoping that it shows up on the recording just fine. And
yeah.
And I think that was Sherry that said she was having trouble. So Sherry, sorry about that. Hopefully, maybe it was something with your speakers or something that was just, you know, hooked up to your system. And hopefully the replay, you'll be able to hear that. And if not, let us know.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks so much, Jamie.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the opportunity to do this with you as always. Thanks, Ed.
Aloha.
Aloha. Okay.
Bye.
Ciao.